Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I'm on my period right now. I'm so tired. But anyway, let's talk about soul today. Do you ever wonder what your soul gonna go to after you dead? Do you believe that when you die, that's the end? Or you believe in something after death? Like personally, I have always believed that there's something after death. I don't think that when you die, that's the end, like you finish. So recently, I have watched a video about Robert Monroe where he shared his experience when his soul left the body. In case you don't know who he is, so Robert Monroe spent decades exploring called our body experiences and consciousness, different level, different state of consciousness. So anyway, this video was so crazy and this shit was crazy to me. Before I go any further, I want you to drop your normal mind. Like, don't use that, okay? Because it's not gonna work in here. Just if you're a crazy person, that's actually perfect. If you're not, just try to increase your craziness. Like, let's use our imagination here, okay? And also, this is really not something that you believe in it or you don't believe in it because we technically we don't know shit about this, okay? So just treat it as a story. Okay, so according to Monroe, dying isn't as simply as you leave your body and then you arrive at your final destination, but there were layers that your soul traveled to. So the first layer that he reached, he said he described it as just like it looked like our physical world, like a house or something. He saw that the soul in there, they didn't know that they were dead yet. Some people who have died can remain confused, frightened, or so attached to their physical life that they don't actually understand what happened. They were still doing their routine, going to work, coming back home. It was like their body was gone, but then mentally they hadn't caught up to what happened yet. And then after this layer, Monroe reached another layer, and I believe he called this Focus 24, 25, 26, and together they are referring as a belief system territories. Okay, why this is belief system territory? Because everything that you believe in become real in this layer. Okay, in this earth, your expectation, what you believe in, our dream, our thought, they are in our head, okay? But in this layer, everything that you deeply believe in, they become real, like right in front of your eyes. So whatever you deeply believe could shape what you experience there. And this layer actually explained to me the difference between religions because I have always had this question in my mind. So I wonder, okay, because I'm Catholic, so I expect to see Jesus after I die, and I was taught that when we die, we will return to our Father house or in heaven. Of course, if you're a good person, if you're bad, you go to hell. So I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus, and I expect to see Jesus. So that's probably what I might see in this layer. Other people, they believe in Buddha. So they might see Buddha in this layer. And then we have different religions like Hindu, Muslim. When I thought about it before, I was like, so why do we have so many God? Like, are we gonna see different God when we die? It's just like, okay, if I'm Catholic, I go that way because Jesus housed that way. If you believe in Buddha, you go that way because Buddha's housed that way. So the core idea wasn't necessary that one religion is correct and everybody else is wrong, but it's just more like the consciousness, our consciousness creates an environment that matches what we are capable of believing. And after hearing this part, I start wondering, okay, we are not technically going to different places, right? What if we are going to one place and we experience different things in that place? Because what we experience are based on the beliefs that make sense to us. Like, wow. Okay. And after the focus 24, 25, 26, he reached another state and he called it focus 27. And in focus 27, there's a different era. And one part of focus 27, he called it the park. He described is almost like a recovery and reception era. So this park is for people who have gone through traumatic death, confusion, or fear to calm down. And in this Focus 27, as I said, there are different era. There's healing and rejuvenation center, an education center, a planning center, and a coordination center. So basically within his model, our soul are not just like sitting around in heaven, if you want to call this place heaven. Anyway, our soul are not just sitting around and doing nothing, you know? There's always something happening. There is learning, there is healing, there's preparation, there's planning. In this era, the soul can heal. He described that I don't know who's they here, but like they fix the soul if you just experience like traumatic death, you know, like for example, if you die in a car crash and then your body's like that. I don't know. I mean, like they will fix the soul, okay, like calm it down, heal it, heal the soul, and then there's a room for the soul to rewatch the life that it had lived on Earth. And here the interesting part is explain to me how reincarnation work, and it makes sense to me. I don't know why, but everything that I watch in the video is kind of makes sense to me. Some soul will come back to Earth if there's still lesson or there's a mission that they need to finish. You know, in a different life, in a different body, with a different experience. Not necessarily because they fucked up their previous life, okay? But just because that there are still things they want or they need to experience. So they will come back to Earth again. And after all the area, there is a room called the coordination room. Okay, this part is crazy. I know it sounds like a movie. You can say, no, it's not real, whatever. Put your normal mind away, okay? Put it aside, put your brain aside. Just use your imagination here. So in this coordination room, he described it as, it seemed to be some form of organization behind what soul experience. So there are people making sure that your soul are on the right path and that they making sure that your soul experience the thing that it needs to experience. He said, it looked like a big machine and every cogwheel works together. And you know what? You and me, we are the cogwheel, but we are in this big machine. It's like we are just this tiny piece of something so much bigger. But from where we are now, things feel messy and random because we inside that machine. But from a different perspective, from somewhere outside of this human life, the whole thing makes sense. That thing need to happen. All of those things needs to happen in order for the machine to work. And we are just a cogwheel in it. I know, it sounds crazy, right? After this room, he encounters something beyond human being. So Monroe said that he was out in the space. So he was looking down at Earth, like this tiny, beautiful globe. And he also saw this giant entity. They were together. They were watching Earth, and he asked like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And he got the answer immediately. But the answer was like transmitted into his head, and they said, "We are watching a big shift in humanity consciousness." And what that means is that more and more people are starting to wake up and asking or like contemplating about their life and asking, who are they? Wait a minute. All right, my dog was just like anyway, so they're saying that more and more people are starting to wake up and question who they really are beyond this physical world, and that's the shift that they are watching. And there also this idea that Earth itself isn't an accident. It was designed at a school for soul to learn to develop. And of course, all the pain, all the suffering, all of the bullshit that we experience in here were part of the purpose. Like, why we need to come to Earth to learn that? Because in the Earth environment is very chaotic, very messy. And you know what? It's very hard to choose love when everything is so chaotic and messy. That's a perfect environment for the soul to learn from. It's easy to choose love when everything is perfect, but when you angry, when someone disappoint you, when you have to deal with your trauma, when life doesn't go the way you wanted, it's really hard to choose love. And somehow through that environment, our consciousness grow and the soul will develop. Okay, if you wonder like, okay, why do we need to learn to choose love? Okay, after this, Monroe describes something as he reached another layer, and he described it felt like home. Not like a house, but more like a familiar state. it's like the soul finally remember where it actually came from. He said, I knew it the moment I stepped into it that, okay, this is where I belong. And apparently, the strongest feeling there was love, but not romantic love or not like love for a particular person. It's just love in its purest form. It's like the soul original form, it's the love. And then that love has always been there, has always been with the soul, even when it's experienced its life on earth. Okay, a little shame. I'm in a different room now. So anyway, back to what we were saying. So that love has always been there. Even when the soul come down to the earth and experience the human being life, doesn't matter how many lives the soul go through, that love has always been there. And the reason why we have disconnected to that love is because it's got covered by layers. So, like trauma, our childhood memory, other people opinions, life happen, and what we have been taught to believe about ourselves, and of course the constant noise of everyday life. That's why we are disconnected from that love. In the video it said, in order to reconnect to that love, we need to be quiet, like meditate, be quiet to hear ourselves again, and working on our trauma, trying to unpack all that layer one by one. And only by doing that we can reconnect to that love, to come back to our soul, to come back to its original form. I don't know why, but the video was so fascinating to me. It may not make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. And I feel like death is less scary. I don't feel afraid of death that much, because probably because I'm still young, and young people don't really care about death that much. But to me, death now feel like a transition. No, it's not the end. It's not like you die and that's it, the end of your life. It feel like a transition. It feel like you start to remove all these layer of being a human and come back to your original form, come back to your house, come back to your source. And to me, that is beautiful. It's really beautiful. And somehow thinking about death like that is relief a part in me, because I've always had this attachment with the people that I love, like my family, like the people that I love in my life. That sometimes I think about death, I think about like them leaving me, and I was like, oh my god, I would be in so much pain. I would cry so much. Obviously, I would be so sad. I was kind of like afraid of that to happen. But I know that eventually it will happen because it's inevitable. So now, seeing death as just a transition, I know that they will come back to their original form. They come back to their source, and probably they will be happier, because this earth is just a school for us to learn things, So we are going through so much pain, so many sufferings, and now, like, it just feel kind of weird to me. If it's feel no, it's not weird. I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong words. It's just feel fascinating for me and liberating in some kind of way. I don't know. But yes, anyway, that's what I want to share with you. If you have any opinion about this, just drop your comment. And also, I watched this video in Vietnamese, so I'm just trying to put the idea of the video into English. Probably I might make some mistake along the way, so just correct me. That's okay. All right, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.